You know what? I think my dad would say that.
All right.
Because, there was just a lot of stuff that I got away with. I mean, and I just think that there was just something there because my dad knew, you know, he just knew something, a part of me was probably, missing from my mother, you know what I mean? But, it wasn't too long after my dad met Miss Deborah, you know what I mean? And she, he met her because he worked with Miss Deborah's daughter. Miss Deborah's daughter worked at the plant where he worked at. And they had a Christmas party or whatever. And, Lisa just liked my dad a lot. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to bring my mother to this Christmas party. I want you to meet her, That's how this thing happened,
Very rare.
Yeah, So it's like, I guess, they met at this Christmas party, hit it off, whatever. And they started hanging out. And that's when I started meeting her. And, I just thought she was just a wonderful woman,
Right.
And one day my dad pulled me to the side and he was just like, I'm really thinking about moving forward, to get married with this woman, He loves her, And, I respect my dad to this day because, I believe I was like 10 or 11 when they decided to do this. And he came to me first and was like, hey, man, I just want to get you a blessing that I can move on from your mother, Like, what do you think about this, And I gave him my blessing, man. I said, you know what, if this makes you happy, Dad, I'm happy for you too.
Respect.
Shout out to Pops. And I'm sure you did the same thing to my brother too.
Shout out to Pops for that.
Yeah, man, and I'm a kid, so you didn't have to do that.
Right, because that's what it is. It's do as I say coming up in the house. Like, this is what makes me happy. And usually the kids just have to go along with it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's very, I commend him for that to even consider your feelings, even as a child. Because we underestimate our children a lot. We feel as though like, oh, they don't know what's really, really, really going on. Mm-hmm. And it's just not that they don't know what's really, really going on. They might not be able to articulate it.
Right.
They might not have the logic of an adult, but they still have feelings.
Right.
So it was dope that he considered that.
He did, and, it made it easier because, the wedding was at the house. Mm-hmm. So they had it at the house and I was like my dad's best man, me and my brother. And so, we welcomed Miss Deborah into the family with open arms and, and to this day, I really appreciate her for, accepting me as, one of her sons. She brought, April, which is one of my sisters, Lisa, another one of my sisters, Tasha, who passed away, which was another one of my sisters, and her only son, Antonio, which was one of my brothers who passed away, but, so, but in the beginning, it just didn't work out that way. Yeah. It's always kind of like that when you're that stepchild and it's that step parent in your house.
Right.
And, there's a lot of people out there that is dealing with this now, like even children, and even the adults who are, who love a person who has a child.
Right.
That, is older, you know what I mean?
Right.
Know who their mother is or mother's still alive. And you want to kind of be, you want to be in love with the person that you love, but also be, a mother figure.
Love their children.
Yeah, love their children too.
Yeah, but then there's just that natural disconnect.
And, in the beginning, obviously before my dad married Miss Deborah, that was just something I never could forecast, But that was one of those issues that we had. And so, me and Miss Deborah, we kind of butt heads a lot. We butt heads a lot from probably age 11 or 12 all the way up to age 18. Butt heads. And, as I got older, as I got older, I got into high school, started getting into sports a lot more. So I played football and stuff like that. We did that a lot in the neighborhood and everything, but I started taking it more serious. Football, basketball, got into high school, B team, JV, varsity, that kind of thing. And, but during those years, my cousin, I was always in tune with him. My cousin, I known him from birth. So me and him grew up together. And, he was in the streets, And that's the kind of life he lived, you know, even since he was a young boy, you know.
Right.
And I guess as I got older, I started getting more attracted to it, you know.
Right.
I guess that's when I started rapping and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So you're in high school. Yeah. You have a potential or a promising future in sports, but at the same time, you're independent. You're feeling like a man. Mom's gone. Dad's working. Stepmom trying to play the authority figure. Yeah. You don't want to listen. The streets is calling your name.
Right.
What's that like?
You know, I mean, so during high school, I kind of dibbled and dabbled in it. You know, I was like, you know what? You know, my friend Meech, you know, I kind of grew up, you know, I met him when I was 7 or 8. We was always doing bad stuff anyway. So I was like, you know what? My cousin, he out here, he makes money, you know, doing like selling drugs and stuff like that. You know, my dad, the thing about my life, you know, my dad did a great job, you know, but you know, he couldn't always provide everything. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean? Because he was only one man. He was trying to do a lot, you know what I'm saying, for our situation. We just moving into that house, everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's not going to be trying to lean on a woman that he just met, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And she was trying to get herself established, you know, getting out of the relationship that she was in, you know what I'm saying? So it was like,
you on your own.
When Christmas time coming in, like, huh?
You out here on your own, fending for yourself. Still got the safety net.
Yeah, you know, it's not like I grew up in a hard life.
You gotta be a man now.
But at the same time, it wasn't like I could get everything I wanted. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, you know, I didn't have to worry about my next meal or if I could have clothes on my back. Right. But I had to worry about what type of meal I was with. Right. What type of clothes I want on my back. Right. You know, that was what it was. It got to, you know. Right. And I wanted a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? And for me to watch my cousin live a lifestyle as a child, really, as a kid, you know what I'm saying? That some adults weren't even living, it inspired me, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff inspired me at the time. You know, not necessarily catching an interception and running it back in the football game. Right. You know what I mean?
That don't pay the bill.
Right. And then I still, you know, I was more like a knucklehead, you know, I was kind of scrappy. You know what I mean? I wanted to fight. I wanted to see what's up with people. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to do stuff. You know, I wanted to be bad. Right. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to get with the girls. I wanted to, you know.
So let's stop right there. Yeah. That chip on your shoulder. Pour up. That's what we're here for. You can't be on the cup without something in your cup. That's false advertising.
We about to get into that type of story.
Yeah. So now, like you said, because I could tell by the injuries, like I wanted to scrap, I wanted to fight, like it's taking you back to a place. So it's like, where did that attitude come from? Do you think that had something to do with the passing of your mother, or was that based on the influence of your friends, or was it a combination of the both, or do you believe like that's just who you were anyway? This was your moment to show that.
You know, I don't really think that's who I kind of was. I wouldn't say it was that. I'd probably more or less say it was like
feeling though you had to prove a point.
Like proof. Yeah, you had
to prove a point.
You know me too much. It was able to be like that. But I just felt like I had to prove a point. And because, you know, my mother was an English major. You know what I'm saying? So I always was taught proper grammar. She smacked me in the lip when I say, I don't got. She'd be like, pop.
I don't have.
Right. You know what I mean? So I got that inkling of, this is the white boy. Right. Everybody called me the white boy. You know what I'm saying? Anybody around my family, he talk like a white boy. You know what I'm saying? He's a white boy this, white boy that. Right. You know, and I heard that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Coming up. You know, and then being like in the streets and trying to do certain things in certain scenarios, I got tried. Right. So I figured I'm going to start doing some of that trying. Right. That's where it got down to.
I'm a nigga.
Yeah, I'm a nigga. I'm a nigga. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, I mean, as a kid, it was kind of like that. Right. You know, and then my best friend was white. Right. My best friend is white.
Right.
But can be in a room with any black person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they actually thought he was more black than me. To be honest with you. I'm just be honest with you. Logan was always more black than me. And y'all, and anybody who watching this who know who Logan was, y'all know that was one.
Yeah, shout out.
That was a real one.
Shout out to Logan.
Shout out to
Peace
Logan.
to the homie.
It was a real one.
Long live.
Long live the king.
Gone but never forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So, boom. Let's bring it back. Your cousin.
Yeah.
Heavy influence.
Very.
Streets. Like what? And I heard you say like he was living a life that even some adults weren't living.
Right.
And you saw that at that age. And you're at a position now where it's like your pops is just doing what he has to do to survive, but there's no extra.
Mm-hmm.
So in school and the basketball and football is not really paying you. So were you working in between this time or did you just go straight to the streets?
I was working.
Mm.
So I got my first job at like Chick-fil-A,
Right.
Worked at the fast food joints, Chick-fil-A, Burger King. I worked at McDonald's with my sister,
Mm-hmm.
Hardee's with Logan.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked, you know what I'm saying? Working, because of my dad, working was always a part of me. I mean, I had a little job when I was like 8, sweeping somewhere, getting paid $20 a day to do it, you know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to work for money because my dad didn't have what I wanted, if that made any sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
he always made sure I had what I needed.
Yeah, as he
But,
should.
you know what I'm saying? I couldn't always get what I wanted.
Right.
So I was going to work for it. You know what I'm saying? I'll sweep. I'll cut grass. I was in the neighborhood. I'll come around my lawnmower. I got this burn on my arm, on my hand right here, just from a lawnmower when I was a kid. You know? I cut grass. I always worked. Working was always a part of me, but it was attractive how fast the money came in the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I started working and selling a little weed. Thought I was doing something else too. You know? Make a move every here and there, you know? It was doubling my paycheck. I wasn't getting paid that much as a high school kid, but I'm selling weed now, so I think I'm doing something. You know what I'm saying? You know, and started doing that, messed around and got caught up with that in high school, you know? Get depth in that another time, but got caught up in high school and ended up getting locked up, you know? Pretty much expelled from school, you know what I mean? Had to graduate an alternative route that year. And so when that happened, you know, I didn't want to live that type of lifestyle at first. So I went to college, you know what I'm saying? I figured out a way to get through this school, get into college, you know, want to go to tech school, get my grades up so I can go to a 4-year college the way I was supposed to go.
So what happened at the school? What got you? What caused you to get expelled? If you were selling drugs at your job, if you were selling a little weed at your job, like how did you get? What does that have to do with anything at the school? Like was you selling weed at school too?
No, I wasn't really selling weed at school. I was actually I was skipping class one day because my brother, rest his soul, Antonio Simmons. My brother was the study hall teacher. So I decided to skip class one day. I skipped class, boom, go in the study hall, sit there. The security officer see me. He's like, what are you doing? Such and such reported that you're not in English class. I'm like, I'm at study hall. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, you skipping class? Come here. So I come up to him. He's like, I smell smoke on you. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you saying? He's like, come in my office. I think you're smoking weed in school. I'm like, man, I'm not smoking no weed in school, which I really wasn't. I wasn't smoking no weed. Like, I don't come to school smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I leave school, I smoke weed. But I don't come to school smoking weed. Now, when I do come to school, I did smoke a black. So he probably smelled a black and mild on me. It's really what he probably smelled. And I told him, I was like, man, I smoke a black and mild. Even though I'm not supposed to smoke that either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even 18. So he's like, yeah, well, I think you got weed. He goes and checks my locker. I'm like, look at my locker. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I want to search your car. I'm like, searching my car. So he goes through my whole car. They searching my car. They pull off the back seat and found a nickel bag that freaking one of my partners lost in my car like 2 weeks ago from that time.